to Americas to attend Brooks Nedham's Celebration of Life. She was a member of our theater, and that was the theater that she used to work in, and I wanted to see it, and so they did let me go in. But in talking to people, Americas is not very big. They have a hard time filling all those seats, but they kept them all, and they do have performances there and rent it out. But 650 is a lot to fill in a small town, so most of them are less than that.
You have handouts for your...
Yes, I do.
What we hope and pray is that what doesn't happen the last time we presented to council, in all fairness, it was a different set of faces up there, but what happened was nothing. You appointed the people who were in power at the time, appointed a liaison who did absolutely nothing. Is that person here tonight? No. Anyway, and we were really disappointed. So what we hope happens is this continues to be something that the city looks at and considers as a very viable effort for the city to take on and help us so that we do remain a vibrant community when it comes to the arts. And so, you can Google the benefit of performing arts in any community. I believe every one of those cities was smaller in population than us. One of them only had 7,000 people. If they can do it, we can do it. We need your help. Again, it takes more than a village, it takes a city. So please keep us on your agenda, and please help us take some action. Don't just read your leave behind and sleep well tonight. Thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity.
We have one question. Have y'all had any conversations or any luck at all with the school system and possibly...
For $8,000, we can, I know Lisa Allen had several shows there.
I can speak to that.
Yeah, Gloria.
I worked for the school system for
Yeah.
30 years.
Can you come up to the mic, please?
Yeah.
I've worked for the school system for 30-something years, and I'm retired now, but I still work on a contract basis, and they will rent out their facilities, and they will work with nonprofits, but we must have someone that is available. We have to pay them to stay there, even though I've opened and closed the building probably hundreds and hundreds of times because I worked at one building. I am not considered an employee of Camden County anymore. I'm a contract service worker, so it has to be someone that is employed that is willing to stay there and get paid for a couple of hours. But that is one possibility that we have looked at, and he is looking at. I mean, they're not going to make an exception and give me a key again. I only had one for 30 years, but can't have one now. But they're not going to make an exception because that's their rule. They have to have someone that can open and shut the building and stay there with, and these are all kids too, so. But yeah, we've looked into that. And I know the dance teachers, if they're for-profit, they've got to pay, and I don't know how much. Each school has a different price that you pay. And of course, the middle and high schools, they have so much going on, it's hard to get in there because they've always got a game or something going on like that. Elementary schools are a little bit easier. I know when my daughter was in dance, we used one of the elementary schools, but I don't know how much they paid back then.
We are exploring that, but that might be something we can have a rehearsal every once in a while, but it's not a solution for a home. We are homeless, but we're not going away, so don't think we're going away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is an announcement of a vacancy on our tax allocation district number 3 advisory board. We have one seat available there. We also have a opening on the Camden County Board of Education Sex Education Instructional Review Committee. So if you have an interest in serving in capacity on one of those two boards, please let Ms. Walker Reed know. She'll get you an application. Time for our report of our city manager, Mr. Horton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and citizens.
Demolition of the old city pool.
There we go. Demolition of the old city pool. We're still awaiting the final disposal certification to close out the project. As soon as that's in, Public Works crews can begin the demolition process, and we utilize this project to train heavy equipment operators on staff. Right-of-way mowing, the city crews are continuing to get caught up on such things as edging and weed eating around obstructions, fire hydrant signs and things of that nature. Mowing crews are expected to be in Crooked River Plantation area around 10 today or so, depending on weather. Crews will also be working on sidewalks in the Douglas Drive, Palmetto Street, and Myers Street areas. Once completed there, they will move to Seagrove Street and St. Patrick Street areas. Coastal Greenery and Addie's Lawn Care are continuing to work on their respective roadway sections. Ditch crews in the ditch crews. Ditches in the St. Patrick Street, Douglas Drive, and Florence Street areas have been completed. Ditches along Point Peter Road are currently being mowed with the sidearm mower. The ditch crew also assisted the road crew with repairing culverts on Flamingo Drive and on Porter Way. Yellow Place Drainage Project. The city attorney has recorded the easements, and the Public Works Department is working on contracting for the removal of the trees. Public Works will also be coordinating with the residents along each side of the easement area. Palmetto Street Drainage. Public Works is currently working to obtain the survey and legal descriptions needed to submit to the city attorney to draft the easement agreement for the property owner to sign. Coleraine Road and Winding Road Roundabout. 4 proposals have been received on this project and were reviewed and scored by both cities. The award is scheduled to go to the City of Kingsland City Council meeting on October 27th. The LeMig projects for 2025 and the 25 supplemental are being prepared to send out for construction bids. The MiG 26 projects are being developed to submit to City Council for approval prior to being submitted to GDOT. The street sweeper. The new street sweeper delivery date is ahead of schedule and is being reported as arriving to us before Thanksgiving. The original delivery date was the end of January, first part of February. The new street sweeper will not require a CDL to operate, therefore will allow more employees to be trained in the operation and use of that piece of equipment. Hazard mitigation grant on the generators. All 3 generator projects were advertised for a second time and no bids received. According to GEMA, everyone has experienced the same type of struggles with the generator bids. After discussions on how best to proceed, GEMA said that we could move forward without having to advertise for bids as long as we follow our purchasing policy. Therefore, we will be exploring existing state contracts and other cooperative purchasing agreements available to us. The sanitary sewer hydraulic model. Volker continues to work on calibrating the hydraulic model of the major sections of the sewer section systems and running development scenarios to determine where or if sewer collection system improvements are needed. Volker is supposed to present this initial draft to the city staff on October 22nd. It is anticipated the outcome of that meeting will help to narrow down the best direction for Volker to develop the recommendations to the city in order to prioritize any necessary improvements. The TAG 2 and relief grants. Between now and the end of the year, there will be a lot of work performing involved in the removal, planning, and tree giveaway event within a portion of the city which is identified as a climate and economic justice screening tool area. As part of these projects, there will be 50 dead trees or deceased trees removed from city properties, 94 new trees planted, and a 200 tree giveaway event by the tree board. The tree giveaway is restricted to city residents that live within those areas designated by the CEGAST boundaries, which is the Climate and Economic Justice Screening Tool. And will require additional information such as proof of planning and future monitoring by the tree board. A sketch of the area can be found on the city's website. Stormwater utility. We are hoping to have a contract to put in front of council on our next council agenda with GMC to wrap up the final phases of the stormwater utility and its integration into our systems, as well as updating the database of impervious surfaces in the city. CIP, you will have it at your next council meeting.
Thank you.
And I'll be reaching out to each one of you to ask how you want it, because the triggering binder is about that thick. So I've got a plan, but I want to run it past each one of you to know exactly what you're wanting. So that's coming. Okay? That concludes my report for this evening, Mayor.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you. All right, we will now proceed with the setting of our consent agenda. So we have no old business. New business, item A, the 2025 millage rate adoption.
Discuss.
B, the agreement not at fault damage recovery program, alternative claims management.
Discuss.
Item C, St. Mary Civic Park Tennis Courts proposal option, Southeastern Tennis Courts in the Nitty.
Discuss.
D, the New World Fire Department software implementation.
Consent.
Consent.
I think we do need,
Yeah, that should be discussed. There was an inaccuracy on there, correct?
there's a change to whatever, but that change didn't get out, right? So we at least need to.
Okay.
Did it? Okay,
Did it get
I
out?
did not see it, so,
It's fixed.
so I'm sorry, so
If it's fixed, then consent.
consent, okay.
I just wanted to say, sir, if you wanted to mention that it was changed in case some of the public didn't know.
Right, it was, realized there was a reduction in the amount there due to some prorating of the current years, basically $6,000 less than the $21,109, so it'd be $15,190, I believe, which should be the final number there, so. All right, so that is consent. Item E, bulletproof vest, fire department, and 2026 budget ordinance amendment, general and speed detection funds, A1 uniforms.
Discuss.
Item F, resolution, St. Mary's Road construction, temporary speed reduction, exit 1 projects.
Consent.
I'd like to discuss that. Is that the speed reduction
Yes.
item? Yeah.
Item G, agreement, new fire station site design services for Stillwater Road Fire Station, McDill Design and Development.
Consent.
Consent.
Item H, agreement, Tabby Trail Engineering and Drafting Service, Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program Grant, McDill Design and Development.
Consent.
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 Item I, Revolution Data Systems Renewal Agreement, Application Extender Software.
Consent.
Okay, so the items on the consent agenda would be item D for New World Fire Department software implementation. Item F, resolution of St. Mary's Road construction temporary, I'm sorry, nope,
No.
it was taken off. Item D,
Well,
item G, agreement, new fire station site design services. Item H, agreement, Tabby Trail Engineering. And item I, the renewal agreement. So with that, we will have, open the granting audience to the public. If you have something you'd like to comment on our agenda, please come up to the podium and give us your name and address, and try to keep your remarks to 5 minutes or less, please.
Steve Hahn. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Horton,
Address.
Mr.
Address,
Williams.
please.
102 Tatnall. Also, I'm here as your representative from the PSA, representing St. Mary's, to talk about the tennis court option. It was nice to get a couple bids. Both companies, Southeastern and Nitty, are first-class companies. I've dealt with both of them over my 25 years in recreation. But I always like to go out to the site and always check things, because sometimes someone who's not familiar with it may miss a couple things. And in this case, the Southeastern Tennis Court people did miss something. In all my 25 years, I've never seen a tennis court in such bad shape, ever. That's behind us now. We're moving forward. And as you know, we're moving forward with the maintenance on all of our parks, and this is a good start. The current court, both the support and overlay system is totally shot. And sometimes you can rehab that or provide a temporary surface system that may prolong the life. But that's usually for only courts that are 10 years or less in age. These courts, I think, are 45 or 50 years old. I took my tools out and I checked, and what you really have to look at in looking at courts that are in dilapidated is the subbase. The cracks were so wide, it was very easy to take my rod and look and check the subbase, and it's non-existent. The temporary surface system that Southeastern Tennis Courts proposed is similar to what they did over at People's Park at the pickleball courts over there. And they made the same mistake, and after 3 years, they had to come back in and do additional repairs to the surface because, again, it was cracking and starting to go. Both these courts and the ones over at People's are in like a slope where the water runs through, and that has a very, very adverse effect on the subbase of the courts. In addition, all other parts of the courts are beyond repair. The fencing is corroding terribly. The joints are coming out at the base. The poles, the only thing really that still works a little bit is the lighting, but those are old metal halide lights, and I would recommend that we look at improving the lighting by going to LEDs, not only to save money, but efficiency and no bleed over. So, although Southeastern also had provided a quote earlier for a total rehab of $275,000, Nitty Sports will do everything from start to finish for $189,680, and that's a bargain in today's market. So I would recommend both as a professional recreation person and your representative on the PSA that you look at awarding this bid to the Nitty Sports Construction Company. Are there any questions?
I do have a question. Your point about the drainage, I think, is a good one. And neither of these options, and I've spoken with Charlie about this, include drainage, which they installed, I think, to correct the water seeping up through the surface at Howard Peoples and at...
It's more of a flow. If you look where the restroom is, it's higher, and the water runs underneath of the actual courts in the subbase, and they walk. There's a little bit of that in this particular location, but these companies rarely work on drainage other than the exact court layout itself.
Right. The county actually had to go back in and install drainage at the
Yes.
Browntown courts.
Yes, they did.
So I think we need to think about that too.
I will make sure that I put that in my notes to the city manager as
And
well.
do you have any estimates on what, I mean, I know we have lights there, what good night play lights would cost?
I guess the prototype that everybody is using now is Musco green lighting. The Musco green lighting, first of all, it will cut your electricity usage by almost 80%. But the key thing, too, is the bleed over. You can go outside the court and it's dark. You walk into the court and it's light. It's so definitive about where the light is and where it isn't. And they're just outstanding. And they usually have a life of almost 8 to 9 years as well.
It's
So-
real similar to what we have at the
what we have at the senior center parking lot is what we've been looking at. But we were going to wait until after this was done before we
Okay.
did that.
And the other thing about lights is, Musco is controllable either from your phone or a computer. So if you have an individual that's in charge of that lighting, they can make sure that everything's posted as far as the time the courts will be lit. So if they're, say, until 9 o'clock, they usually can then set it so it goes off at 10 after 9 to give the people time to gather their stuff and go off.
They got a Chris Gelman Stadium too.
Yes,
Cool lighting.
true story, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Do we know if we did go with Nitty Sports Construction for $189,000 and then the Musco lights and taking care of drainage, do we know approximately what the total cost would be?
Your poles there are in good shape, and you already have your cables run to them over to the side where they have a current switch. So just the lights themselves would probably run you about $8,000 to $9,000 just for the 4 poles.
Steve,
Yes.
we're just talking about one court, right?
2 courts.
2 courts.
Yes.
Okay.
Are there plans to paint pickleball lines on those courts when they resurface them? So they're multi-use?
I can't answer that, as I don't know, but at the same time, there are plans. I've been working with the city manager and Charlie on some options, and at that park, we are looking at some pickleball courts there. The problem that you find with pickleball and tennis the same is you use movable nets, and you have to be able to get people to move it out there and then move it off. And unless you secure the place, we've had, out in Cumberland Harbor, we've had a lot of problems doing that. So that's a decision to be made. But you can always add the lines later.
And I had a question, I guess, about the warranty from Nitty. Did we get an answer on that? If that came, I didn't see it. I just didn't see my emails at the end of the day.
Yes, sir. I was actually waiting on them to send me something formally in writing. I haven't received it prior to the council meeting, but it's 1 year on construction, 2 years on the acrylic, and 3 years on the net and poles.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so, yep.
Larry White, 102 Sylvia's Court. One positive aspect I'd like to bring up is, for Charlie, is that Cumberland Systems is doing an outstanding job on their garbage collection and on the yard waste pickup. Just to bring that out. One bad thing is, I'd like to see the vegetation in the ditches on Mickler Drive is getting so high that you almost can't see over the ditches now. It's been a long time since they've been cut. And if you cut those ditches now with your ditch cutter and leave the vegetation in there, it's going to be blocking the drainage. So you should have Public Works go out there and take a look at that. And the other thing is, if you're going to reduce the speed limit in the construction areas there on St. Mary's Road by the construction to 45, that's a good idea. But if you're going to do that, you need to have the police department make sure you station somebody there for the first week or two, because they don't do the speed limit on St. Mary's Road. I'll guarantee you that, they don't. Speed limit's 55, and they'll be going 60 to 65 all the way down there. So they're not gonna pay attention to a 45-minute speed limit sign on the side of the road by the construction. Because once they get up to speed, then they're gonna slow down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Raymond Butts, 507 Bowen Street, St. Mary's. I have a question about improvements of Meeting Street boat ramp. I was curious if there's a we could get a restroom, small restroom there, and more parking, because on a holiday weekend, it gets parked all the way up to North Street, and I didn't know if maybe now's the time to, with the fallout of the development of the shipyard or yacht basin, maybe now's the time you could do something about it, because there's more people coming and they bring bigger boats. And some kind of small restroom would be really nice for families when they come out of the boat, and, you know, drinking fountain, just something small, but it would be very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Karen White, 609 Margaret Street. First of all, I want to say thank you about going forward with the tennis courts. I know it's been a big job, and thank you, Charlie. He and I have met. But I also want to remind you and whoever else we need to is that the USTA of Georgia has many, many grants available. Lighting, $15,000. Each court, $35,000. Because we are considered a rural area, they are pushing for that. So we need to not worry so much about what the final cost is going to be. We need to really realize that if we do it correctly, we can get some funding through them. They're out of Atlanta. They have a person that will come and work with whoever is going to be that person here from the beginning to the end. And we need to take advantage of that. But I do thank you for the perseverance. And I will ask a question about something else, completely different. I meet with a group of people over at the marina in the evenings. We have dogs and we have a ball, but the problem lately has been nobody mows the lawn. So I was curious, when do they mow the lawn over there? Can anybody answer that? Because it's been weeks and weeks. So, that's my question. I know there's a contract for somebody, but I'm just curious if they just get paid and don't mow.
The contract doesn't cover that area, it covers certain streets.
No, but there's another person that has a contract for it.
On the
green.
park?
On the green there.
You're talking about the Gateway property or Old Gilman Boathouse? Yeah, that would fall to cities, public works.
No.
No, it's not?
No, it's somebody
It
else.
actually falls under Addy, has the contract with the city right now.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we need.
Well, like I said, it's probably been months since it's been mowed. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Bert.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Bert.
Not just yet. Bert Seals, 816 Riverview Drive, St. Mary's. I want to start with the last session we had with the 16th. You know, when I left here and going up the road to Dandy is where the firehouse is, and there was a fire truck there with all those lights flashing and everything. But he was waiting here, and people were still driving through like nobody's business, man. And the lights wasn't, you know, the lights there, it wasn't on for some reason. And, you know, I stopped. A couple of the folks stopped, you know, after folks rode up before. So, you know, we need to kind of probably look at that, because I think it's very important, because, I mean, the guy who was driving the fire truck, he was patient, man. He didn't ease his way out there. I'm glad he didn't, because like I said, two individuals rode right on through like nobody's business, man. And I think they should have been ticketed. I wish there was a cop or somebody around to take care of that. But the lights wasn't working. Those little, whatever it is, so I don't know what happened. And they probably figured, as long as the lights ain't working, they just kept on going. I want to throw something out here real quick here. I saw Mr. I'm going to read this thing out here. I think it's very important that you said, Tom Canning put up this thing here. Someone in the city council relentlessly remind us of potential catastrophes, natural and otherwise, that our budget is not prepared to fully and completely manage. Denying the worst case scenarios has no merit. However, from a political and practical standpoint, using this warning of potential doom is simply the prelude to I told you so. In our country, be prepared the best we can afford, and hedge our bet with well-developed response procedures and an insurance policy if and as we can afford. I thought that was I just got it just on us. Something I was going to mention about, you know what I mean? And I thought it was kind of nice that he put it out there because, we could, there's only so much we can do as you guys are on the board here, as well as citizens. Catastrophe, we can't guarantee nothing like that. Things gonna happen. So I don't want, we can sit down here and bounce our head against the wall about what can and cannot happen. But we gotta be kind of look at what's going on and take it into consideration. There are things that we need to do ourselves. And I wanted to kind of read this out. Maturity involves a paradox. On one hand, growing up means gaining mastery over ourselves and navigating life with wisdom. On the other, true maturity also means realizing that many forces in life are beyond our control. This recognition is called humility. We face natural, social, and spiritual powers far greater than ourselves. Yet we know there is one who is greater than them all. Things will happen. You just got to pray a little bit. A lot of people, I pray every morning. I spend some time. I do that because I think we need to do that. Our current situation and what's going on around the world right with our leaders, it leaves a lot to be desired. But at the same time, they're there, and we have to kind of adhere to certain things and follow through. Good thing about our system, we have the executive, legal, and administrative government. So those are checks and balances. So hopefully, at the same time, we at this level, we don't have to get that far, that deep, but we still have to adhere to certain principles of what's going on in and around us. I could add some more here. For example, one of the things here, House HB 581, 18 million unpaid taxes because what it was, those who dealt in the HB 581, we gained as citizens. We gained. And I remember the last council person, I think Lisa James is the one who really pushed that. There's another one with a Tabby Trail. I forget the councilman who was pushing that.
Dave Riley.
Dave Riley.
Oh, there you go. I would like to see that happen. I really will. I really would like to see that happen because, he has pushed that thing. And, I think the only little piece between right now is the ferry from St. Mary's into Fernandina. Hopefully we can get that done. I don't mind catching the ferry and going to Fernandina and get some meats and come back. I thought it was nice. Me and my wife, we rolled up. We did it a couple times. all the way around, we could do that too, but I'd rather do the ferry and just get out there, go. So, please keep up, keep in mind on what's going on. And I think I like how the individuals who did the little theater thing, I'm glad they did that because I like that kind of stuff. And hopefully we can get it going again. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Jerry Bundlow, 805 Riverview Drive West. Appreciate you guys doing all this stuff with the tennis courts. But the number one form of recreation in St. Mary's is boating. And we don't have a restroom and a water fountain, so when the guy takes his wife, 3 kids, and the grandparents and puts them on the boat on Saturday morning with 30 other people putting in boats, and they got a one-hole plastic porta potty there, it ain't working. So if we're not going to do the restrooms under Splash 8 like we said, I hope it's like the number one priority in the CIP. And the money for that can come from what Ms. Keene said, from fund equity and from the millage rate increase. So put the restrooms there.
Thank you.
Nick Harris, 102 Hamlet Circle. I think before, I've got 2 issues, and they kind of correlate, but the first thing I want to just say outright is, every week we come, everybody speaks, and a lot of times people perceive that the voice is never heard. And it seems like a lot of times that the council, the city government is asking the citizens to adapt and change. But before you can do that, you got to look at yourself as the leaders, and maybe you guys need to change, maybe some of the, the way you look at things. So the next 2 examples is Alive After 5 has been a miracle for St. Mary's. I can tell you every business that's participating is happy because they're actually doubling, maybe tripling their income in that 3 hours than they did all day. But however, when you get something great, you have to be proactive. So I've been doing 3 of them now, and I sit right out front of our store, Farm to Family, and I can tell you, I don't understand why we don't have police presence when you have slews of people walking on the sidewalk. It's the only time we have food vendors on the street. But now that we've got the scarecrows out there, I can't tell you how many cars, especially the car show people, when they were driving in, they were barreling down in front of that high school at 40 plus miles an hour. And I know, maybe the police have other things to do, but I think we just bought a golf cart, put it right there by Magic Mark with blue lights on it. And when people are coming in, they're just going to see it. But we need to do something, because that 3 blocks from the elementary school down to City Hall, even during school, parents are too lazy. They're getting out of their cars. They're pulling babies out while little Nikki darts across the street. And it's going to happen. We just don't know when. So it's an easy fix to me. And the last thing is, remember I said I wasn't going away with Farm to Family? We've been talking about this. We are losing money. The city says we're business friendly. There's no other business on the main street there that has an elementary school where there's constant people going and there's enough parking over there, they just don't use it. They choose to use it for the 2-block span from Magic Mark all the way down basically to City Hall, which means we are losing money. I'm asking one more time that we just, for 2 spaces, because it's not like we're a Marshall's where people are going to go in and spend 40, 50, 60 minutes. They're coming in, they know what they want. We need 2 parking spots right out in front of our door that says loading zone, 15 minutes or something, and I think would solve the problem. But you guys have to help. I've been to everybody. We've talked to the grocers. We've talked to the school system. We've talked to the police department. But the situation is, it's time to stop talking. You're bringing, we have a quality store. the pilot program that you're gonna do, you're gonna take 2 or 3 parking spaces away in front of Kraken so they can put tables out in the street. I don't want tables in the street, I just want 2 signs that say limited parking or 15-minute parking so my people come. So if you're gonna do a pilot program down there, hell, do a pilot program up in front of Farm to Family with 2 signs that say, unloading zone only. I mean, it's fair. We've got to start changing things because at the end of the day, a business like ours, and I'm not being arrogant, but man, that's been a moneymaker, not only for us, but it's been a great service for the people in St. Mary's. You just don't know. Come at alive after 5, and those people are dying to come and have nothing but good things to say. But if it keeps going the way it is, it's another small business that came but just can't survive. Because why? Because there's no parking? That's just totally unacceptable. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom Canning, 410 Point Peter Place. I appreciate the opportunity to, read my prepared statement at today's work session. I'd like to leave a copy to include in tonight's minutes on the record. I do ask you again to consider rejecting the 5.439 millage rate that you're considering and accept the rollback rate. The other item I want to mention is many people know in our community that we had a mobile food pantry scheduled in November 13th. That has been canceled. The reason it's canceled is the Second Harvest out of Brunswick has not received the food supplies they need to support that. I don't have the real insight into what's going on, but I suspect that it's a domino effect from the government shutdown, because I know there's a lot of strain on individual pantries throughout the country trying to support those government employees that are without salaries. To make that point even stronger, last week I got a call from a pantry manager. Their cupboards were bare, their shelves were bare. They had so many families show up for food, they had no more food. So for all within earshot, we don't need to wait for the next canned food drive. If you have non-perishable foods available and you'd like to donate, we have pantries throughout the county. Choose the one that's closest to you or you know about, and they'll be glad to accept any and all donations. I don't know when the next mobile food pantry will be. Somebody's already asked me about December. We have no indication that we'll have one for the rest of the year, but if that changes, we'll get the information out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Schmitz, 112 New Hammock Circle up in Chatelon. Saturday is walk to end Alzheimer's, 8 o'clock down at the Waterfront Park.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there's no one else. We'll close public comment and move into the rest of the business at hand. Our first item will be to the approval of the consent agenda. And just as a reminder there, the items on consent agenda are items D, G, H, and I. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Ms. Rassi, who went first?
He did. Second.
Rassi and Mr. Nascimento. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Sorry about that. All right. Then we have the approval of the agenda. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have Mr. Ingram and Mr. Connor. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So we have no old business items, so we move into our new business. The first item is the 2025 millage rate adoption. And I don't know if we have anything else for staff here to present. We just presented the information back at the 5 o'clock. Guess I'll start out by.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Call for motion.
Yes, sir.
Call for a motion.
A motion.
Second
Okay.
before you can start.
Okay, yes, sir, you're correct.
Yeah.
So,
You gotta make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommended millage rate of 5.439 mils.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay,
With that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to open it up for discussion, if that's okay.
sure, go ahead.
First of all, Mr. White, I want to thank you again. You were right when you said that public hearings are supposed to be for the public. And I was going to ask for a point of order when the mayor started talking, but the last mayor and we had it out about me asking for a point of order, or him at a public forum, decided that he wanted to do some things and forget about the public. So, my apologies that we did it again. The second thing is, a lot has been said about the millage, and like I said, $290-some thousand is not gonna destroy St. Mary's one way or another. And if we do have a hurricane or something happen that causes tremendous damage, that wouldn't be enough to put a dent in what's going to happen, But I do know that if we, at this time, not just in St. Mary's, but in the entire nation, don't start pinching our pennies and living off of less, a lot of people in St. Mary's is going to lose their homes. And you might say that it's not enough to worry about, but I do worry, because I know for a fact if we continue to spend beyond our means, we're going to have some taxpayers here that's not going to be able to make it, and they're going to lose homes, or they're going to miss meals in which they don't have to miss.
Agreed. And we already, I'm not going to rehash everything we talked about in the sessions. That was for the public who listened, and then the public who was here to hear what we had to say about that. But thank you so much for the citizens' comments and your input. Obviously, it's heard. It was certainly heard at the county. If the public didn't speak, that would not have been overturned. So that is huge that people showed up to voice their opinion. But I also want to speak to just council, mayors, whoever runs in future elections, to just be a person of your word. Now, I'm not the only one who's promised to adopt a rollback rate. There's other people, but I think, and the public can correct me if I haven't, but so far everything I've promised that I would do when I campaigned, I voted in that direction, or at least we're in the process of doing, and the rollback rate being one of them. I just want to be a person of integrity and a person of our word. So if we say we're going to do something, we want to not only do it, but we want to continue in that trend and not constantly dive back into homeowners' pockets for what we need to do when we should be cutting back or we have money that is there for a reason. Fund equity is not to just sit there. It's your money just sitting there, not being put to use for anything. Now, obviously, I don't think I need to prove it. I'm physically conservative, but money is there for a reason, and that is a substantial amount to do what is necessary to do, not $282,000. But changing the trend and constantly nickel and diming and upping the millage rate year after year and constantly raising taxes is a trend I don't want to follow, and it's one that I promise not to follow. So I'll vote accordingly tonight, and I would encourage people, next November, there's another election. I would encourage people to just don't be that person who's known for, hey, when we need more money, we're going after you for it. Let's tighten the belt. If you looked at the graph that the city manager brought up, you can see that the growth is constantly trending upward, and I predict that trend is going to continue even greater than what you saw on that graph. So let's just tighten the belt for a little bit. Let's hang on for a couple years and watch that growth catch up rather than increasing taxes for our citizens.
All right, I'd like to address a few things there. So, first of all, Mr. White, I do want to say that at our Thursday afternoon meeting, Mr. Seals asked us to speak first to find out where our position was prior to, which is why we kind of did that. I think again tonight, wanted to hear from us. Make some people happy, make some people unhappy. That's part of the job, apparently. But we did want to make sure we left plenty of time for everyone to speak, and I think we did that. But this discussion has really gone a lot towards fund equity, which is really kind of a budget discussion that may be more appropriate during budget season or whatever to decide what our tolerance is and where we want to be with that. What concerns me is, we're not constantly raising rates. We did a rollback last year. I think Social Security in the last 2 years has gone up 14.5%. Expenses to the city have continued to increase every year. Our costs go up. Our cost to operate, our cost for power, our cost for employees and labor, our cost for insurance. The city has increased spending pressures as well. Those aren't going away. There are unforeseen things that happen within the city all the time. Just as Mr. Seals brought to our attention, we've got a flashing light out there that's not working, that maybe we didn't know about, maybe it wasn't budgeted, but those types of things continue to happen throughout the year. And we are trying hard. I think you've seen some of the things in the city manager's report to address some of the long-standing issues with stormwater, with ditches, with mowing, with the street sweeper, to try to make our city look better, make a place that we can be proud of. And you're right. I mean, $282,000 is not a tremendous amount of money. We should have had the guts to go for more, to actually address and fix some of the problems that are standing before us, because we have huge infrastructure issues that are going to need to be addressed. We have a 90-day moratorium right now due to our water and sewer capacity. Sometimes you get grants, but a lot of times those grants have matching funds that you have to come up with money to match those grants that come along, or at least in some percentage. It's popular and it's easy to sit up here and say, I'm going to lower your taxes. But I don't believe it's prudent to do that. Holding fast to what we had, given the 581 exemption for folks that are struggling, that have property tax issues, we did that. We put that in place so that our seniors, and then the increased senior exemption situation, to make it where that's not going to put someone out of house and home, and they're not going to pay more taxes than they paid the year before. But I also think, we can't continue to kick this can down the road. There are things that are coming that we need to be prepared to address, and it's not about a catastrophic storm that's going to wipe us out. It's the everyday things that happen, that come up, that we have to address and fix to keep going day in, day out. And if you continue to, sweep this under the carpet, it's just going to be a bigger problem down the road. We all, personally at home, as well as here at the city, are facing these increased, pressures. And, I think it's the right thing to do after looking at all the data and the numbers and trying to make sure that we put the city in the best financial position that it can be in, to cover the little hiccups that come along our way, the uncollected taxes, the reduction from assessments and things that will happen to this digest. And it's for those reasons, and not because I take any kind of joy, in raising or holding the millage rate where it is. It'll be a raise for some, potentially. It won't be for others. But that'll be the case even if we drop it. Some will pay more taxes because of reassessments that they had. So there's no good answer, but I think there's a correct answer. And I think the correct answer in this situation for what we're talking about is to put this increase there to protect the city, to allow it to do the things it's due and the big things that we have coming up, not only the city hall and what that's going to do to our fund equity, but just to allow us to continue to operate. So I'll leave it with that.
One other thing I'd like to ask, a rollback will still surpass our budget.
That's right, by 49,000.
Yeah, so, we're really getting more than what we have budgeted.
That's assuming that we collected all. You're correct.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and speak on some of the things that were discussed and some things that, I might have mentioned in a previous day, but not today. But we did all approve the budget that we have. Yes, our tax digest grew by 5.18%. Is that right? Yeah, 5.18%. But we approved a budget that is 9.19% higher than last year's budget. Costs do go up on things. We had things that we approved. We all agreed on what we were going to, budget out, but now it's time for us to responsibly pay for it. We just discussed, making sure we put the taxpayer money to work for us, which we are. This budget, we shortchanged it. It's obvious by those numbers I just stated that we are shortchanging the budget. So we are already using some of that money in fund equity to carry this budget over. If not, I think I said at the first budget hearing, if not that our finance director is, trying to just tax the citizens, but, in her job sitting there, how are we going to pay for these things? She would have suggested a millage rate of somewhere near 6, a significant increase. So we're not doing that. We're putting the taxpayer dollars to work. And that was within this budget. So our healthy fund equity, we can discuss if we need at least the minimum, recommended at the bare minimum 3 months of reserves or 6 months of reserves. But as it sits, putting that money to work, we have $1 million of that fund equity sitting there. That's already ARPA money that's just sitting there for City Hall. We have $237,000 in a PSA settlement. And we do have the cost of City Hall, and that hasn't been a bleeding ulcer. We are spending a lot of money monthly. For the first 3 months of this budget, we've actually spent, on average, $35,000 a month just on a building we're not moved into yet. So we've got to act now, and that cost is here. We do have pending real estate transactions that we didn't want to pencil into the budget, but if we don't have to pencil them in, it's in our fund equity right now. So if we had to burden the whole cost of what we're estimating City Hall, we put money in the parking lot, the roof, and get into the building, that's near $7 million, which would put us at right at just I've got the number here, 2.8 months to reserve, so that's below the minimum critical level of 3 months just to have in your reserves as a city our size on the coast. If we do one of the pending real estate transactions that we discussed when we did our budget, then that would put us at 4.9 months. So I don't see the success in our fund equity. We are approving this budget, kind of rolling the dice, hoping the unthinkable doesn't happen. We already are kind of gambling a little bit with this budget. If not, we should have asked for a higher millage rate. So I don't think that this is the easy stance to take. I know that nobody wants to hear it, but we're not elected to always make the popular decision. We're elected to make the right decision, and sometimes it's a tough decision to make. So that's kind of how I feel about the subject.
I did want to add one other thing about the growth that Mr. Nascimento mentioned. Our growth has slowed. If you look at the last 4 years, we had $110 million growth year over year for 3 or 4 years, dropped down to 52 million this last year. So that growth has slowed, and we don't know where that's going. But one thing I can, assure you is that a lot of our growth in the next few years is going to come within our TAD areas. And those areas, unfortunately, they help to pay for the infrastructure in those areas, the streets, the water sewer infrastructure, but they won't put police officers in cars. They won't put firefighters in fire trucks. They won't put public works folks out there to tend to the maintenance and those kinds of things. Those are things that are going to have to come from our general fund and from the dollars that we raise here tonight. And, so that, the growth is coming, yes, but where's that proceeds from that growth going to go? And is it going to be available to us to do the things that we need to do to operate the city responsibly? I don't think it's there, and that's another reason why I'm in favor here.
And I agree with Greg and Chad on this whole entire thing. We have to be prepared for the future, no doubt about it. We're going to have to hire more police officers in the future. We're going to have more fire people. And it costs a lot of money to run a city, and we want to make sure that we're prepared if something were to happen. And that's the reason why I'm leaning where I'm leaning. Thank you.
Well, I'll add one thing. There are sources of money that we have not tapped from the state, House Bill 581, and grant money. I know that we all have different risk tolerances, and we have made a budget and all agreed on what that budget is. And I think that, again, the city needs to, along with the rest of the people in St. Mary's, stretch our budget and live within our means.
That's right.
So that's all I have to add to that.
Okay, if there's no other comments, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
So that is 3-3, and I will vote to adopt the millage rate of 5.439. Okay, item B is our next item for discussion, agreement not at fault damage recovery program, alternative claims management. And so we have a request to approval to enter into agreement. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rassy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ingram. Open the floor for discussion.
I have some questions about this. Do we have comprehensive insurance coverage on our rolling stock?
On our what?
Rolling stock, fire engines, police cars.
I'm going to be honest, that's probably a finance question, but I do believe we do. I mean, all those
Okay.
vehicles are, including our properties, are insured.
Okay.
Just not sure at what level.
So the way I understand it, this is a contract to pardon me? Do we have comprehensive coverage on our rolling stock? In other words, our fire engines, police cars, city vehicles?
Yes, ma'am, they are covered under our policy, yes, ma'am.
And we have comprehensive coverage?
We have full coverage, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, thank you. So our insurance should take care of any claims that we have where we are not at fault. Under this agreement, as I read it, we're allowing someone else, it's a service, to manage our claims, but we're responsible for providing all the documentation and making the claim. They're just going to manage the claim. And I think under comprehensive coverage, the insurance company that we have should help us manage the claim to our benefit. And if we allow this company to do it, we're just sharing whatever we get from those claims with the company as a fee for managing the claim. So I'm really wondering what the benefit is to us for doing this.
I guess one of the things that, I looked at that myself, in the recovery share, and I'm not sure about, I know what my comprehensive insurance does, but, they will make no money on physical damage recovery based on final repair, invoice body type stuff, typical, where they seem to make their money is like in loss of use, loss of revenue, inherent diminution of value, repair-related diminution of value, recovered fees, areas that I don't know that the typical insurance claim is going to provide additional revenue for loss of use and fight for those kinds of additional benefits or whatever. And that seemed to me, in my reading through the contract, that was where they add value and where they obviously make their money.
Yes, and that is actually correct. So say I leave here tonight, I get in an accident, I'm still going to file a claim with the insurance company. They're going to, if I total the vehicle and say I only get the Blue Book value, the insurance company's still going to write the city a check for that. Where this company comes in is after that for the loss of value. Anything after that they raise money for the city, then that is where we share the cost with them. So it's everything after the insurance company. But our insurance company currently, as we can see, we pulled up the last 4 years, have not gone and achieved everything that this company is saying it can do for us. So essentially, we're still going to do business with our insurance. This is just going to bring extra money to the city. And they're going to go back and even retrieve these last 4 years and see where they can find lost monies.
What happens if the fault is challenged and we've already incurred some of these costs, loss of use? I mean, are we liable for that?
From what I understand, no, because the company, this is what they do. We'll deal with the insurance company, they'll have their own litigations if it's necessary, and then this company just swoops in after that and finds money that's still left on the trail for us. We just split that 50-50 with them, whatever they find after the fact.
Yeah, it does say no upfront costs, so there wouldn't be anything to be responsible for. I would say it's almost kind of like having an attorney where, they agree to take the case. If it's an attorney that takes your case for no money up front, but they charge roughly 35% if they're going to take your case to go receive additional funds.
That is correct. When we met with the company, that 50-50 kind of was a scary number, but then when we realized it was after our business with the insurance company, this is all found money that we're not getting now.
Yeah. Additionally, it's a one-year contract, but says either party may terminate with written notice at any time, and for avoidance of doubt, client's not obligated to continue to send claim and may stop sending claims at any time. So, we get into it a couple of months and we don't see the value of it or whatever, and we think it's, we have a immediate out clause. We're not tied to this contract, so.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Our next item for discussion is the St. Mary's Civic Park Tennis Courts proposal options between Southeastern Tennis Courts and the Nitty Sports Construction, or something else. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
For what?
I make a motion that we select option number 2.
Second.
And also have Public Works look into the drainage issue. And task management with looking at installing new lights on the existing
Those Musco lights.
poles.
So just to be clear, you are option 2 as for the Nitty Sports Construction.
Yes.
Correct.
189,000.
All right, we
I'll
have a
second.
second by Mr. Ingram. Is there any other discussion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Next item for discussion is item E, bulletproof vest for the fire department, fiscal year 2026 budget ordinance amendment, general and speed detection funds.
The only.
So wait a minute, we need
Oh, I'm sorry.
a motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Lackner, you want to come up and tell us anything? You want to wait for his question, his comments, or you want to?
Mr. Lackner,
Yes, sir.
first of all, where is this money coming from?
Out of the speed camera fund from the police department. He's being awful kind.
Speed?
The speed camera detection around the school area, sir, it's coming out of there.
All right.
And
It's a
then,
permitted use.
Yes, sir, we're allowed to do that.
and then also, do we have like the data, like obviously, you know your work, but do we have incidents that prompted this?
Actually, sir, the last shooting at Cumberland Oaks prompted this. The Camden County Fire Rescue, they carry bulletproof vests in the back of their ambulance. We're looking to do the same thing for ours. We're not, man, we have 30 firefighters, basically, we're getting 20 vests. We talked to the people that make the vests, Safari, we can put some at each station that'll cover every size, and that'll make sure everybody's covered. They're not gonna wear them on fire calls, it's not for that. It's going to the bad calls or the calls that we're not sure are bad.
Right.
You may fall, and we get there and it's a domestic. Now, if it's a bad call, we wait for PD to say the scene is safe to come in, but what you tell the 911 or what 911 gets told isn't always the truth.
Right. That was going to be my second question. What are we modeling after the count? Okay. Good deal.
All right, is there any other discussion? We have a first and a second to.
Yeah, I do have one question. So we're requesting 20 vests, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How many do we have working a single shift?
9, sir.
9. Only asking because I mean, like the police department, I understand having everybody outfitted for
That's
this.
why we're going with 20, sir. I can put 6, 6, and 6, different sizes, because I have
Oh, yeah,
firefighters
that's
this
right,
big.
different sizes. That makes sense. Now we're looking at size.
That way we
Okay.
can, yes, sir.
That does kind of clarify a little bit more because I was looking, could we cut the number in half maybe and like try to save a little? But yeah, you do have the sizing issue there. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item for discussion is the resolution St. Mary's Road construction temporary speed reduction. Can I have a motion to?
Well.
Got to make a
yeah.
motion first.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Connor. All right. Any discussion?
I just want to ask I think that's a good idea for a speed reduction, but is there any future plans to put a traffic light over at that? Because I don't even live in Osprey Cove and I've come up.
Yes, sir. There's the 3 for the, you want to answer it? I can, but you walked that far.
That's okay. So there was an intersection control evaluation study done, and there will be traffic lights at least the Esplanade Boulevard. More than likely at the other 2 as well. That's down the road, however. We can't do the signals until we meet the signal warrants. And that's a permanent construction. Warrants are the evaluation you have to do to determine whether a signal is warranted or not. So that's why they call them
And
warrants.
as far as the Osprey goes, as that development progresses, then that will be included as a part of the traffic study for that whole corridor, to be able to look at that intently.
What's the timeline on that? Because with the increased traffic, it's going to be really, really hard and dangerous to get in and out of
I don't-
Osprey Cove.
I can't tell you on June such and such it will be, but I think as we start seeing the construction happen here, it's going to put more pressure on GDOT to make that happen.
Okay.
The question I have is, are we going to be able to enforce this? Will we have some kind of a sign like says 45, blinking sign that says 45?
We will have all of the signage in place to allow us to enforce the speed limit with higher fines.
Right.
And it'll be for this entire zone.
Good.
And it's going to be in place for quite some time. We've got 3 intersections under construction now. All that work is on the outside of the road, but it's about to be on the medians as well. And then after that's done, we're going to have
the trail and landscaping and other things that are going on. So this is going to be in place for a long time, and the police department will be able to issue tickets with detection devices.
Good.
Above 45 after this goes in place.
So.
Do we have any uninstalled flashing radar lights like we have, on Dilworth or
Yeah.
St. Mary Street?
We have one portable one, all the other ones have already been, put in place.
Oh, whoa.
Big
Yes. The big guns here.
The only thing the police department would have would be their speed trailers, and obviously we can move them around and stick them out there in the beginning.
Right.
So to keep it going.
So have we considered expanding the area where we have the 45 mile an hour speed limit? Because I would personally like to see it at the overpass, on the other side of the overpass.
So unfortunately,
Westbound.
Unfortunately, if we're doing this under the in the construction zone, the city has the authority to impose these speed limits in the construction zone. But outside of the construction zone, we're going to have to go through the Department of Transportation. We can do this on our own without DOT approval according to Georgia law, but it has to end at the end of the construction zone. So I can't take it past that without getting in trouble with DOT.
I suspect we'd probably have to deal with the Navy as well, because that's the main entrance to the base. So that
Yes.
would have to go not just to DOT, but federal.
DOT would coordinate that, but DOD might weigh in on it as well. That's part of the discussion we've had with DOT about we've discussed a permanent reduction in speed on St. Mary's Road with GDOT, but we're not there yet.
What do they not want to do that?
We've discussed it. I hate to characterize their opinion because it was real non-committal. But we have the authority to do this during the construction period, and that's probably going to be for a couple of years. I mean, this is going to be a fairly lengthy temporary reduction.
Right. Perhaps we can make a bigger effort to enforce the speed limit that we have now.
Yes, it'll be much
Sir.
easier.
Yes, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous, madam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I believe that conducts all of the business there, so we are ready for the announcement of our calendar.
Yes, sir. On Tuesday, October the 21st at 2:00 p.m., we have the St. Mary's Convention and Visitors Authority meeting at the Ward Hernandez Building. Also tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., we have the Historic Preservation Commission meeting here in Council Chambers. On Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. here in Council Chambers will be our open meetings, open records training. On Thursday at 2:00 p.m. here in Council Chambers, there will be a RFP Aquatic Center Orange Crush Attraction Stair Replacement. And at 2:15 as well in Council Chambers, there will be a bid intersection improvement. On Tuesday, October the 28th at 2:00 p.m. here in Council Chambers, there will be a request for proposal for the Lazy River Attraction renovation. On Thursday, October the 30th here in Council Chambers, there will be a 2:00 p.m. bid opening for the St. Mary's Road Intersection Improvement Project. And on Monday, November the 3rd, 6:00 p.m. meeting here in Council Chambers, sir.
Thank you, madam. Okay, I believe it takes us now to our council member comments. Also open the mics for comments from council members.
I guess I'll start out. I just have a couple of things I wanted to say. First of all, I really appreciate the citizens' input and a lot of the things that we have on our calendar. It helps me a lot, especially when people come to these meetings and express themselves, whether it's for me or against me. I really appreciate you. Chief, you're the only one I know to put on the spot. No, the big chief. Chief of police.
Wait, in size or department?
I'm not talking about size. No, I mean it's deplorable the trash that's on St. Mary's Road and some of these other overpasses that we have. I see these people come out on their off days, on weekends, cars lined up, they have their vests, and they're picking up garbage that people just carelessly throw out on the roadway. And I can, and I applaud them and wave at them when I see them picking up trash, because it's a great thing, it's the right thing to do. But then the day after, or 2 or 3 days afterwards, you have some nut come out and just throw bags of garbage out. Is there any way that we can kind of put a stop to this? Because St. Mary's is a great place, and I hate for people getting off some of these interchanges and first thing they see is a lot of trash. I've talked about it, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, because it's all of our duty to make sure that trash isn't thrown out. And people that's listening outside there, if you see somebody in front of you or somebody behind you that's throwing garbage out of the window, even cigarettes, that's garbage. Please report it. I don't mind people knocking out somebody if they're littering our cities, because we're a great place, and I want people, when they come in, especially people that haven't been here, for them to have a good impression. And the best impression is a clean impression. So, Chief, I don't know if you can install cameras in these areas or what, but I'd like to see something done about our trash.
Yes, sir. And I'm 100% with Artie on that. Anybody that throws out trash, they need to get the biggest ticket we could possibly give them. And, we got a lot of things done tonight. And Robbie, I appreciate everything that you did, and I appreciate what you've done with our city and our police department and all you guys, without me missing somebody. Appreciate all of it. But it was a good night, and thank you so very much.
Yeah, I guess we'll just go in order around the dais here tonight. We have been kind of random order. We got through a pretty challenging meeting. Now we can take a deep breath and move forward. And I'm still glad we made the decision that we made. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with something else in the agenda that we did, but, we were all unanimous on the tennis courts, and, I believe in the tennis courts. We did approve that, but we had $150,000 of SPOS money sitting there for the tennis court, so we just approved an additional $39,000 plus looking at lights and drainage. I agree with those items, but those things do come up, which is kind of why we had to make the decision we did on the millage rate, because that's where that money is going to come from, our fund equity. So I do agree with the decisions that were made tonight on the millage rate and the tennis courts, but it's going to roll over sometimes, and that's what that money's for. So that's about it for tonight. Thank you.
I'm gonna share a thought. I'm big on what Tom King talked about tonight. Tom's gone. Whoa.
Took it out.
But anyways, the Thanksgiving food drive, this is a consolidated effort between the military base, the school system, churches, and Kiwanis. We're meeting the needs, and the Salvation Army. They're the instrument of our abilities to reach out to families in need. And in a couple of weeks, they're going to be feeding 150 families. The school system's doing collections. The base is going to go pick it up. This is a total team effort, and I'm not going to labor this any longer than I need to. But if you're interested in helping out, please come and see me. I'm passionate about this because when I was a kid, my dad broke his neck, and we went from a moderate income to food stamps, and my dad had to learn how to walk again and all that. But if it wasn't for the community stepping up, I know I wouldn't be here today. And so I just want to encourage you during this Thanksgiving period, reach out to people that are in need, because there are a lot of people out there hurting. And that's all I'm going to say.
Lynn, can I say one thing? since Alan's through. And this is exactly what Alan's talked about. Alan and I both and Greg are in Kiwanis, and we're taking donations for turkeys and stuff like that, $20 a piece, and we are going to be delivering all of those turkeys, what, in 2 weeks? Is that right, Alan?
Yes, sir.
In 2 weeks, we take the whole day on a Saturday. We go out, we deliver them to their door, we hand it to them, and give them a handshake and tell them that we hope they have a great Thanksgiving. So if you would like to sponsor a turkey, you can contact me or Alan.
Or Greg.
Or Greg. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You big turkeys. Sorry.
I just want to call to attention real quickly. You know, like I say, we have all the scarecrows out there in the median, and I believe this Sunday afternoon is the Scarecrow Stroll. And I want to thank everyone, all the businesses and organizations that are going to the effort to put out the scarecrows and be out there to give out candy and treats to the kids, the community. If you've never been down here during that, it is a madhouse. There's a lot of folks down here. A lot of kids having a lot of fun, enjoying our town, and encourage you to come out and participate with that. And with that, I'll end my comments. And I don't believe there was anything else there, so.
For motion that we adjourn.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes, sir.
Have a great night.
Have a good night.
Yes, sir.
We got a system.
Well, you know, the vote wasn't to.
Much appreciated.
We're gonna tear them down and build a brand new.
I just thought I'd let you know you're
We're already ahead of you. So we actually tossed that around.